Well, first of all, I want to thank Bethel and Ms. Tara for asking me to come speak today. Last year, at last year's conference that I came to, and it was wonderful, y'all did such a good job. All of us Calvary ladies had such a good time. But I sat there going through the program, and well, I noticed on the back page, just like the back page of this year's program, I noticed the program last year had this year's theme and the verse and the speaker and all of it. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, Psalm 139. And I looked over and I was like, oh my goodness, my heart started pounding. You're thinking, why would your heart start pounding over Psalm 139? Well, we had just started the planning of our conference about a month prior for last year. And the theme verse that really spoke to me while we were planning was Psalm 139, particularly verse 17 and 18. And I sat there, I literally sat there, back there where I'm sitting now, and I was like, oh, Miss Tara's gonna think I stole her theme. Okay, I did. That was the first thing that went through my mind. She's gonna think we stole her theme. And I remember, I think I even called a couple of ladies from our church. I was like, Miss Tara's theme is going to be Psalm 139. And we've already, like, I even called Tara and I was like, I promise you we did not copy it. Okay, that is the silliest thing to have been worried about on that back row last year. But it really did, because I didn't want her to think that I stole her thing. Like, nobody else in the world can use Psalm 139. Like, that's just Tara's chapter. I had no idea why I was so concerned about it, but I was, and it drove me crazy until I called her. I was like, I promise you we didn't steal your thing, I promise. But I'll tell you why that verse was so impactful to me, and why we chose that same verse last year to focus our conference on. But that'll be later, that'll be in like session 3. But then I also spoke at a conference in October last year down in North Carolina. And guess what? Their theme was Psalm 139. And I thought, what in the world is going on? There's got to be something really deep in Psalm 139. There's got to be something deep that all of us are searching for. Like, the Lord has laid this on way too many people's hearts at the exact same time. And it can start to consume my brain. And ladies, I truly feel like women are struggling with who they are and what God wants for them. They're exhausted. We're exhausted. We're tired. Some ladies are having to work 2 full-time jobs to sustain the home. Some ladies are stay-at-home moms, and literally the entire weight of the home they feel is on their shoulders. They're saddened by whose life they wish they had, or they're searching for something that they've not found yet. And I truly, truly, truly believe that once we dig into Psalm 139, we might be able to answer some of those questions today. I will be the first to admit that I've had many, many of those same thoughts and insecurities and feelings in my own life. So I'm not, what's the word? I lose words. I'm 51. Yeah. So I've been there. I've been right where a lot of you ladies are as far as having insecurities. But the Lord has shown me so much, especially this last year. So I'm going to start with this. Ms. Tara's already introduced me. You know, my name is Kristi Glenn. I am married to my sweet husband, who also happens to be the pastor of our church. He's so handsome. And he's like 6 years older than me, so he's really doing well with it. Okay. We just celebrated our 33rd wedding anniversary last weekend. So this is going to explain my gray hairs. I've been with him for 33 years. 34 if you include our dating years. And we've been in ministry at the same church for over 30 years. So that explains some gray hairs. Real quick story. I went to the salon where I get my hair done, and I sat down in the chair, and the girl's name that I go to, her name is Cheyenne. And she said, okay, are we doing anything new today? And I've literally had the same color for probably 4 years. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to try something new today. And she said, well, what are we going to do? Cut it off? And I said, no. I want to, fall's coming. I want to add some like shadow roots and maybe give me a root tap. And she's like, you can't do that. And I said, why? I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it. I know it'll be extra. And she said, you've got too much gray. And I said, what? And she said, honey, if we do that, your new growth, you're going to have a hard cut line, you're going to have all these. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, really? The gray mixes in beautifully with the blonde? And so I'm literally at that age in my life where I can no longer do the fun hair colors, or I'm stuck with blonde or gray. So that was just recent, so that was a thing. We live on a farm. It's a small farm. We've got a few cows, a few horses, a few chickens, got a dog. We have 4 kids who sometimes make me want to pull out my gray hair. And I have stretch marks to prove that they're my sweet, beautiful little peaches. We have 4 grandbabies who are my absolute world. And the day that I became a meemaw, calls them apart to do that cringy heart thing, and it hurt 3 times. Love those babies. Okay, I have blue eyes. Every time someone meets me, they point out that I've got a brown freckle in my right eye, without fail. Anytime they're like, oh, your eyes. Oh, do you know you've got a brown? Yes, I'm aware. Because I have blue eyes, I have to squint in the sun because blue eyes are sensitive to light. So now I've got these, and these, and these, right here. I got all these things because I have blue eyes. I can't wear sunglasses because I inherited my dad's sweat glands. And when I wear sunglasses, I get too hot. So I got to squint because I can't wear sunglasses. So now I've got these. Thanks, Dad. Thank you, Dad. I have blonde hair, but I have to wear it up all the time because it falls in my face when I get hot. And I get hot because I got my dad's sweat glands. And then I have to color the hair because I've got gray hair. And so it's just this big merry-go-round of all the things. I'm incredibly uncomfortable with public speaking. And I second guess every single word that I say. Every word that comes out of my mouth, I second guess what I just said. Whether it be having a conversation with somebody or speaking or whatever it is, I'm like, oh, why did I say that? I didn't mean for it to sound like that when it came out of my mouth. Or texting's the worst. I'm like, if I could have a voice in with the text message to know that I'm not saying it. Like my girls will tell me, would you please put punctuation in your text messages? If there's an exclamation point, we're going to know that you're either angry or excited about something, and it drives them crazy. They're like, when you just say okay, we don't know if you're like, okay, or okay. They're like, please put in the punctuation. We need to know if you're angry with us. I'm like, when have I ever been angry with you? Okay, so I'm terrified of what comes out of my mouth. So I'm terrified of public speaking because I'm afraid of what comes out of my mouth. I'm envious, truly envious, and I know that's a sin. I'm truly envious of anyone that can play that instrument right there. Yeah. I'm envious of you, Miss Laura. I'd give anything to be able to play the piano. I'm 51. You can't teach old dogs new tricks. So that's me. That's who I am. Now you know all my insecurities, you know all my things, you know all the wrinkles, my stretch marks, you know all the things about me. There's nothing you don't know. But I want to start by saying, I'm not talking today about physical outward appearance. Today is about our entire being as a whole. Our physical, our emotional, but most importantly, our spiritual. And if we don't nail down the spiritual part of our life, the internal spiritual parts of our life, nothing else, all the other areas of our life are going to be null and void. You'll never be happy. You'll never find happiness until we take care of the inner spiritual part of our being. And my prayer today is that by the time we leave, that each of us are going to have a deeper appreciation for who we are in Him. And have that confidence in knowing not only Him, but knowing what He has for each one of us. He didn't just create us just to be wandering little robots around this earth trying to figure life out. That's not why He created us. That's not why He calls us His masterpiece. There's so much more. There's just such a deeper life once we find it. And it isn't a reassuring that He already knows what it is. We might not have found it yet. We might not know what He wants for our lives, but He does. And if we trust Him with everything that we have, every fiber of our being, we can rest assured in knowing that He knows. Okay? And He'll keep it. He'll keep it until we find it. Okay, so in Jeremiah 29:11 it says, "For I know the thoughts that I have for you." And at the end of that verse it says, "To give you an expected end." He knows the thoughts that He has for us. Isn't that beautiful? We don't have to worry about that. So we're going to start in Psalm 139. And ladies, I forgot my glasses. I was getting ready. So this is so strange, and I know. I'm sorry, my mouth is dry because I got medication that dries my mouth. Because I'm old. Okay. Our property is really weird. We have a small home that's that has one bathroom, but we have an apartment above our garage that has a whole thing. Like it's like a tiny house up there. And so one day, a couple years ago, I told my husband, I thought, I think I'm gonna move all my things upstairs, like all my clothes and all my things, and I'll just have the whole upstairs bathroom. I'll just have my own place. I can wander around up there and do my makeup in this room if I want to, and do my hair in this room if I want to. And he said, well, that's kind of weird. And I said, well, it's not weird. It's like having a big walk-in closet. That's all it's going to be, like my walk-in closet upstairs. And so one day, when Maya, our daughter, was still in junior church, I don't even know what they were talking about in junior church, and she told her teacher, she's like, my mom has a whole bedroom upstairs. It's her own bedroom. I'm like, I sleep with my husband. There's nothing wrong. We're good. It's just my walk-in closet. That's so I'm like, Maya, don't be telling people I've got a bedroom upstairs. That sounds really, really bad. She doesn't do that anymore. But anyway, we're going to read Psalm 139. I forgot. So anyway, my glasses are upstairs, and I forgot to grab them to bring them down because I got a new hair product and I couldn't read it, and I had my glasses. Anyway, it's okay.
I have hair.
Well, I just tried on my mom's, and they're not working. So I think I'm good as long as I keep it down here and I'm not close. But thank you. Psalm 139, verse 14 says, I will praise thee, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. I'm sure that through our years of living and being here on this beautiful earth, that we've read that verse a bazillion times, without fail. How do we normally say that verse, though? We normally just say, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, right? That's just, I think that's probably how a lot of people just quote the verse. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And that's beautiful just in itself. But when David wrote this song, and this was so beautiful to me, he was in awe. Can you truly say that you've ever been in awe about how God created you? I had never thought of it that way. I just say I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Woo! Yay! I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, but I've never been in awe about God creating me. And when David wrote that, how do we know? How do we know that he was in awe? I'm going to tell you. The word fearfully in that verse, or no, let's start with wonderfully. The word wonderfully in this particular verse means to be separate, distinguished, and unique. That's pretty neat. That's a good way to look at it. I'm separate from anyone else. I'm distinguished, and I'm unique. I'm my own person. I can promise you, without any doubt and 110% assurance, there's not another Kristalina Dawn Glenn anywhere on this planet. There's not another one. There's not another Tara Dale. There's not another Shelley Manning. We are all separate, distinguished, and unique. Verse doesn't stop there. It doesn't just say we're wonderfully made. It says that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. So what does fearfully mean? Fearfully doesn't mean that we're afraid of God. That's not what that means. Should we have a reverential fear of him? Absolutely. But this verse doesn't mean that we're afraid of him. This verse means that it's having a deep respect and reverence for the one who created us. So we're fearfully, that means we reverence the one who wonderfully made us separate, distinguished, and unique. Think about that. Those two together, that'll make you like, woo. That'll make you go, woo! Okay. That causes you to look at it a whole new way. But we're still not done. Because when I read this, I literally almost came out of my chair and woo! Okay. He starts out the verse. I will praise thee. Y'all, I will praise thee. He was in awe that God created him. He was in awe because he was fearfully. He reverenced the one who took the time to create him. He was in awe that he was separate and distinguished and unique from any other. There was no other David, I don't know what his last name was. There was no other David like him on the planet, anywhere to be found. And he was in awe. That was awe-striking to him. If we would stop and think for 2 seconds, Lord, you made me like no other. There is no other person roaming this planet that has my thumbprints. The iris of my eye looks like no one else's. And to think that not only that, but he has got a specific design and plan for you like he doesn't have for anyone else. Miss Tara can sing and play, sweet as a peach. She has all these wonderful characters, but I can't play the piano. Oh, how I would love it. I can't do that. I can sing with people, but try to put me up there in a solo, I would pass out. My knees would buckle right out from underneath me, and I would flat pass out right here on this platform. So I'm not like her, and she's not like me. And that's wonderful. Isn't that wonderful? I'm going to tell you why later. Okay. When was the last time We've had loved ones that have gone before us. We have some, like I have a little baby that's in heaven. My little baby was never here on this planet. I have the privilege of life. And each of you have the privilege of life. And when was the last time we truly thanked him for that? I can say with 100% assurance that when I wake up in the morning, my very first thought, thank you, Lord, for waking me up this morning. I think it every morning when I wake up, whether it be 4 in the morning, like this morning, Miss Tara, I'm with you. Or whenever. I can promise you, I wake up and my first thought is, Lord, thank you for waking me up. Does that always mean my day is going to go hunky-dory? No. But I have gotten to that realization since I started this study last year that I need to be thankful for even being alive. Okay. Have you thanked him recently for the talents he has given you? Some people look at their talents as a burden. Why could we do that? We used to have a pianist years ago, that she really didn't want to play the piano, but we didn't have another pianist, and so she just did it. Well, that just because she did it didn't mean, anyway, this is how she would play the piano. And I would give I can't have my right arm gone because I couldn't play the piano, but I would give my right arm to be able to play the piano like she could tear it up. I'd give anything to have that talent. Anything. And she, thank him for what he's given us. Not everyone's a Sunday school teacher. Be thankful if you are. If God has put you in that position, thank him for that. It's not to be taken lightly, y'all. You don't know if you are teaching the next D.L. Moody, the next Adrian Rogers, the next whoever. You have no idea who's sitting in your classroom. No idea. And if we don't take that seriously, if we don't take that time with them seriously, and we're just we're going to have to answer for that. Okay? Thank him for your talents. And your gifts, the gifts that you've been given. And when I say gifts, I'm in this particular area, I'm talking about your children, your spouse, your parents. Don't take any of that for granted. Let me tell you. If we don't take those things seriously, take them away. Thank him for what you have, the gifts that you've been given. Thank him for those. Okay. And it was these very, very thoughts, the very thoughts that caused David to be in awe. Once he really started thinking about what God had done for him in his life and the things that he had brought him through, the book of Psalms, yes, it has a lot of discouragement on David's end, but he was just penning what he was feeling. But right behind the discouragement was encouragement. And Psalms is beautiful, beautiful if you read through the whole book. So he was in awe of what God had done when he started truly thinking about it. And I believe that we're no longer satisfied in what we have been given, but rather we're unsatisfied with what we don't have. We're so focused on what we don't have that we're not grateful and thankful for what we do have and what we've been given. And we're so caught up in what everyone around us has or everyone around us is doing. And I'm telling you, social media is the killer of all joy. You can get on Pinterest and try to find an idea about what would look cute, what kind of pillows would look cute on Friday. So type that in there, and you'll get these beautiful Pinterest homes. And you're like, oh, I want a Pinteresty looking house. Social media will kill and rob our joy. Okay. So we're not satisfied, and we're insecure about what we do have, and we don't think about those things. And so that's going to cause envy, and it's going to cause comparison. I'm just real quick going to go through these three people, and then I'm going to move on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Oh, you could spend all day here, but I'm not going to. Okay, 3 different times in the Bible where envy and comparison will kill relationships. The first one is Cain and Abel. They start off scripture, boom. Genesis, boom. Envy and comparison. You tell me that's not a big deal? Like, we don't struggle with that? It's literally chapter 4. We were 4 chapters in. And envy and comparison, boom. Cain didn't give his first fruits. That's what was required. All he had to do was give his first fruits, the best. He chose not to. Was this God's fault that he disobeyed? It wasn't God's fault. But he blamed God. Don't we do that same thing? We get ourselves in some situations and then we spin it around and turn it on God. We do the same thing. But Abel did as he was commanded. Abel gave his first. He gave his best. But Cain became so resentful because that he felt like there was an injustice done to him, that he ended up killing his brother over it. That's some deep envy. That's deep. Do you have aught against someone that's going to causes your heart to be resentful towards someone? I'm not talking to the point of murdering someone. If you do, we probably need to have a conversation afterwards. But do you have a resentful heart towards someone because you're envious of what they have or what they've done? Or ladies, that's comparison. Jacob and Esau in Genesis chapter 25. 2 brothers that were raised by the same parents. And the parents favored one child over another. One parent favored this one and the other parent favored this one. Parents, don't do that. And although you might not say it to their face, they feel it. Both boys desired the blessing of both parents. Both wanted that more than anything. They both wanted their parents' approval. But they ended up pitting each other against each other because of comparison, because of envy. And Esau, he had a grudge enough that he had planned to kill his brother. His mom found out, and she got him out of Dodge, and they never saw him again. Was it worth it? Favoring someone over another? Do you seek someone's blessing? Not the Lord. I'm not talking about the Lord. Do you seek approval from your best friend at church, from your neighbor next door, from your spouse? If someone is more favored than you and seems to seek the blessing, seems to have a blessing that you so desperately seek, is that a problem in your heart? If so, that's comparison. Leah and Rachel in Genesis 29. Listen, we better get out of Genesis. Lots of comparison going on in this book. Here here we have two sisters who compared themselves with one another. I think I'm kind of getting like siblings are not good for one another. Both these siblings have aught against each other. But you know the story. Laban tricked the girls into believing that one was going to get to marry Jacob. And because of the deceit of the father, it didn't work out that way. He was sneaky about this. And Leah couldn't bear children. Or she could bear children, but Rachel could not. So because of the father's deceit, although Leah could bear children, she craved the love and the affection that Rachel got from Jacob. She wanted that so badly, the affection that she got from Jacob. She desired that affection. She might have could care less about having a child with him, but she wanted the affection. While Rachel wanted the child, she could have cared less about the affection. Do you find yourself feeling as if someone gets the attention and praise more than you do? Maybe because of their looks, or because of their talents, or because of the gifts that they have. Because they seemingly have it all together. And ladies, I can promise you, no one has it all together. No one. Behind every perfect, you've heard this a zillion times, behind every perfect Facebook picture, there's a mess in the closet. I promise. No one has it all. Behind the perfect Pinterest home, there's crumbs in the couch. Things stuffed behind pillows. And I'm not talking physical things. So before we go comparing ourselves or being envious of what someone else has, ladies, first of all, don't do that. I promise it's not like that. Carson, when Carson was little, my husband and I had gotten into an argument. I guess she overheard and we've never used this word ever in our home. She went to her Sunday school teacher. She said, I think my mom and dad are getting a divorce. And this was the church gossip. And so she came to me immediately after church. Your pastor getting a divorce. And I said, well, no. In the world. And she said, oh, Carson told us that she overheard an argument. I was like, oh, my soul. No, not. It was an argument. It was over something petty. It was not a big deal. And so I got in the car, Carson today. We're not saying things like that. So listen, even pastors and their wives have disagreements. Their home is not perfect. Our home is just like your home. I promise you. But ladies, comparison will steal your joy. Right here, right now, it will steal your joy. And it will leave you feeling so very ungrateful for what you have. I've been on Pinterest. I'll scroll through, I'll see the things, and I'm like, this is what I've done. So I'm guilty too. I'll scroll through, I'm like, oh, that is so pretty. Can I find one of those? And I skip on over to Amazon. See if I can find one of those. So at that point, I'm comparing my home, where I'm sitting, where I'm warm, or where I'm out of the warm and I've got cool air blowing through my house. I'm sitting there unsatisfied with what I have already been blessed with. So we've got to stop it stealing our joy. Okay. How can we avoid comparing ourselves to someone else? How do we do this? 6 easy steps. Fix your eyes on God and not others. Make Him your priority first. Recognize God's grace in your life. Y'all, without His grace, 3/4 of us probably wouldn't be here. He's been so so good to us and favored us and shown us favor over and over and over. Be grateful for what you do have. So many people, I promise you, as much as we say we would like to have something more, they're saying, I wish I had what she had. So be thankful for what you've got, what you've been given already. Rejoice when God blesses someone else. Y'all, we don't have to be rejoice hogs. Why would we keep that to ourselves? If God has blessed someone else with something wonderful, why wouldn't we want to share in that joy with them? Why wouldn't we want to praise right along with them? I've seen it firsthand. Okay. Try to meet the needs of someone else. When we get the eyes off of ourselves and what we may or may not have, what looks good to us, when we get that focus off of ourselves and try to meet a need of someone else, my kids have seen it firsthand. We've helped people at a restaurant that couldn't get the food. When your kids see that you are helping someone else and you're meeting the need of someone else, that's going to work on their heart. Rather than, oh, good grief, put like pickles on my sandwich. I told them I didn't want pickles. Daggone, you got a cheeseburger. You got the cheeseburger. Take the pickles off. Don't make a fuss. One thing I'll say about my Grace. That girl, without fail, I can make her a fried bologna sandwich with cheese and accidentally put mustard on it. Now, she despises mustard with every fiber of her being. But I can accidentally put mustard on it because I may have put mustard on mine and just was like, and stuck it on. I'm like, oh, she doesn't like mustard. We'll see if she notices. I can promise you within 5 seconds of her taking the first bite going, oh, thank you, Mom, for lunch. Without fail. Every single meal of her life, whether it be a Pop-Tart, pizza rolls, or a full-blown Sunday roast. That little girl back there will say, Mom, thank you for my Pop-Tarts. Mom, thank you for my pizza roll. Don't forget the little things. Okay? Remember the pizza rolls. Remember the pizza rolls. I'm going to try to read this. 2 Corinthians 10:12. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that command themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. Right there in Scripture. It says if we compare ourselves with someone else, we are not wise. God said it. God said that. He just showed it to me. Because, and I have issues too. We all do. Comparing ourselves with anyone else is not wise. Why? Because I'm not like her, and she's not like me. And I'm not like her, and you're not like her. Have we even taken the time to pray about our feelings? Have we even taken the time to do that? Or we just sit around and fuss and find things to be grumbling about or complaining about? Or I don't have what I give to have dark brown shiny hair. It's so pretty with blue eyes. Makes blue eyes pop. I think that's so pretty. I don't have brown hair. I can't even get brown hair now. Gray hair will come through. She said, "Oh, you're gonna have a line. You're gonna have a line." Like, so I couldn't even pay for brown hair if I wanted brown hair. I'm stuck with blonde or gray. I can't do gray yet. Do we already know what our talents are? I think a lot of us already do know what they are, but we want someone else's talent instead of what He's blessed us with. And so we would rather sit over here in a corner and, "I don't have her talent. I wanted that talent. I don't want to sing. I don't play." Why do we do that? He's designed us. He's given us the talents, and we're refusing those. But I think if we really pray about it and really think about that, He'll pull it out of us. He'll show us what they are. You gotta be willing. It's kind of a willing heart to do that. Okay. Do you have jealousy in your heart over someone else? Do we have thoughts assuming that they might have a pride issue? Do we just assume that about somebody because they're happy, they're joyful, they're excited, they walk into church, they're like, "Let's worship the Lord today." And you're like, "Go back to bed." They're so prideful. We just assume that about somebody because they're a happy person? That they're prideful? Ladies, it's probably not an issue with them. It's our heart that has the issue. Maybe she has confidence in knowing who she is as a child of the King. Maybe what you're mistaking as pride is actually confidence. And I'm not talking pride. We're going to deal with that in a minute. We're not talking about pride. We're talking about confidence. There's a difference. Even Paul said he was confident. Okay. Maybe she's so confident in the one who created her. Maybe she has no doubt in her mind what God has called her to do. Maybe she has no doubt in her mind who God has called her to marry. Maybe she has no doubt in her mind that God wants her to teach this Sunday school class. Who are we to say that that's pride and not confidence? She knows that she's loved. He fashioned her. She's confident in knowing the plan that He has for her. She's confident in all of that. And yes, there are times when someone's head will get bigger than a hot air balloon. But it's easy to see. That's easy to see. But if it's just something that we're like, go back to bed. Nobody wants your chipper, happy, bubbly self at 7 o'clock in the morning. Prideful person, you. Let's think about it, ladies. Let's think about having discernment. Okay? I could have read my biography, my little bio that I said about myself. I could have said it like this. I could have said, "Hi, my name is Kristi Glenn, and I'm married to Randall Glenn. He's the pastor of Calvary Baptist Church, and he's been there about 30 years. And we live on a farm, a big farm. We've got lots of cattle and lots of horses. We've got 5 dogs and 25 chickens, and I've got beautiful children and beautiful grandchildren." You see what I'm saying? Did I even come close to that? Yeah. I was like, we got a little farm. I got gray hair, stretch marks. Ladies, you'll know. You'll know when someone's genuine, or do we really need to examine ourselves and find if we are the ones that have the problem, the heart problem. But in any case, that's not our place to judge. That's God's. And He'll take care of it. If someone's got a pride issue, He'll snap it. He'll stop. I mean, it says in Scripture, in Philippians 2, let nothing be done in vainglory. but in lowliness of mind. At the end of that verse it says, let each esteem another. What's that mean? Do we esteem ourselves? Let's say, if I've given you a job to do, go up there and boom! Say, woo! Look at me! No. It says, let someone else esteem you, not ourselves. Let each esteem each other. So what's that mean? I have a sweet little teen girl back here who, when we have our revival, our tent meetings, I love to cheer on the preachers. I'm married to one. But sometimes I like to hear other preachers too. Although he's my favorite. So last year at revival, I was like, I really need some finger pom-poms. And they're like, finger pom, what are you talking about? I'm like, I need finger pom-poms when they're preaching something really good. I'm like, yeah. That's so good. Awesome. Oh, I forgot my little unicorn guy. He's back there in the back. Oh, he's in my bag. Last year we went to a meeting and some of my friends at church, my mom got me a little unicorn guy on a stick, and he's got boxing gloves on, and you push these little buttons and it goes pop. And I need that for like when a preacher is preaching on something like, oh, that was good. But for the most part, I want to be their cheerleader. So she made me some little finger pom-poms. Oh, she's got one too. Little finger pom-poms. So that when they're preaching something awesome, y'all probably gonna see it this year at revival. I'll be back here going, yeah. And then take notes. So my finger pom-poms. And then one of the evangelist's wife, my dear friend Shane, heard that I wanted finger pom-poms, so she could find finger pom-poms. Taylor made these. But she couldn't find finger pom-poms, so she got me a little bitty #1 finger. So when my pastor is preaching something awesome, and I want to cheer him on, I'm like, okay. And now I have my very own set of the class that I'm going to add to my little treasure box here. Ladies, be someone's cheerleader. Oh, why do men fight with one another? We are vicious. We're horrible. And I'm a woman. Middle-aged girls. Preteens. Listen up. Quit. Quit with the bickering. Quit with the she wore that dress. Maybe she felt like wearing the dress. Maybe her mom didn't do laundry that week. Maybe that's all she had that wasn't wrinkled. Lighten up on each other. It's ridiculous. I'm getting on a rant here. Stop with the bickering. Stop with the fighting. Thank you. We have a tent ministry. Yo, I'm breaking out the sweat. We have a tent ministry. Does every man that helps set up the tent agree on how the tent goes up? No. No. Absolutely not. But my husband has watched, I can promise you, 100 videos when he got the tent, when we got the tent. He watched 100 and probably 101 videos on how to put that tent up. The company we bought the tent from sent him the link on the video to watch to set up the tent. The correct way to set up the tent. No one else watched the video. 101 times. My husband watched it 101 times. You know how I know? Because I don't listen to it. You know how many opinions he gets out there setting up the tent? From people that never watched the video? 20. But at the end of the day, they're laughing, you're sitting around having coffee, you're drinking Coke. Because guys get over it, just like that. Yeah. It's okay if they don't agree. Guys don't let it affect them. A woman will hold a grudge for years. And unless you're like a grumpy old man hold grudges. That's probably why they're grumpy and old. Grudges can start in middle school. Grudges can start in high school. And we allow those grudges to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and they root up bitterness in our hearts. Before you know it, you got a full-grown oak tree growing in there. Yeah. Leave it at that. Okay. When we have the urge to criticize someone else because of who we think they are, or what we think they're thinking, what we assume they're talking about over there, just because two ladies are talking over there doesn't mean they're talking about you. That's right. They might be talking about the pot roast that burnt last Sunday while Brother David preached too long. They could be talking about that. We don't know. Don't just assume because you see two people talking, they're talking about you. Right. Assumptions get us into a lot of trouble. It takes me a long time to figure out what I'm going to wear. I don't know why. Probably because I'm afraid of what people think. I think I dwell on that too long. Miss Tara, how much longer I got? I'm so afraid. Am I over? I'm already over, probably. I'm almost done. I get to rambling. See, and you could have paid me to have done this 2 years ago. I was terrified. So now I don't go on. I'm bored of vomiting because I've never done it. What was I saying? Oh, it takes me forever to figure out what I'm going to wear. And any given Sunday, I can come downstairs and I'll have an outfit on. And if my husband goes, I'm like, what? What? And I'm like, nothing. I'm like, is it the skirt? Is it the sweater? What? He's like, nothing. Nothing. Well, I'm assuming that he hates the whole outfit, so I go upstairs, change 5 more times, come down in a sweaty mess because I'm all worked up. When really I should just go to Maya first thing because she will tell me right now. When it started for her in preschool, she went up to her preschool teacher. And I know this because the preschool teacher came to me. And she said, well, I won't be wearing this anymore. And I said, what? And she said, these boots? And I said, why? You look cute. And she said, oh no. Maya told me I look ridiculous. I'm so sorry. So, when I need an honest opinion, we'll go to my girl. But ladies, have discernment. But be a Barnabas. Rhonda Sands, I love you. You're one of my Barnabases. She's an encourager. Brooklyn Nee at our church is a Barnabas. There's not a Sunday goes by. Listen, I don't know if she's doing it because she's nervous and just has to have something to say to me. But without fail, every single service, every single Sunday and Wednesday, I get 3 compliments a week. She says, Miss Kristi, I love those earrings. Miss Kristi, that is the prettiest dress. Where did you get those shoes? Listen, I don't care if it's just something she has to say or not. It makes you feel good. Be a Barnabas for somebody. You're not going to leave Calvary Baptist Church without the biggest hug from Honest Hands. Been praying for you, girl. She's a Barnabas. Be a Barnabas. In Acts 11, it says that when Barnabas arrived in Antioch and he saw the good that God had done there, he exhorted them, which means encouraged them, that they cleave to the Lord, that they hang in there, stay with it, don't give up, don't leave. Find someone in your life that will be your encouragement, that will encourage you daily. Every time you see them, they're encouraging you to keep going. Stay faithful, stay strong. Do not. Are we to be friendly? Yes. Are we to be kind? Yes. Don't let people influence you that are going to bring you down. Amen. Pray for them. Be kind to them. Let Barnabas be your friend. Let Barnabas encourage you. Let Barnabas be the one that tells you you're fearfully and wonderfully made.